and welcome to my very first video. I'm super excited to share with you my book journal for 2024. This was the very first book journal I've ever done, and I would like to at some point do a Booktube newbie tag so I can kind of explain how this all even began. But back in 2023, the end of December, I had the sudden urge to start a book journal, and this is what I've completed over this year. Now, I still am taking up all the days that I can of the year to complete my goals, so some of the statistics won't be done until the very last day in December, which will probably be when this video is being posted. So you can check out my Instagram, which is linked below, to see the final results of my reading year for 2024. This is also going to be a two-part video, so I can share with you all of my stats and the way I set up my book journal for this year. And then part 2 will be all the books that I read and going into more detail the spreads that I made for those books. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right in. So this book journal I have here, it's from Notebook Therapy. I really liked this journal a lot. I know a lot of people use Notebook Therapy journals. I have the vintage rose design. I don't know if this is still on the website or not, but I really liked it because my theme for this year was fantasy. And so I liked the rose emblem, kind of reminded me of Beauty and the Beast. And this is just a really nice journal. You can see that it is packed full of scrapbook paper and washi tape and stickers. She was well loved this year. And I love how all Notebook Therapy journals come with a like a page marker, metal like paper clip, and it's also really fun. At the back, they usually have a quote, and so this one says, "As you sit nestled by the fire, feel the vintage rose between your fingertips and let love bloom onto a new page." So I really love that. They do these kind of quotes on all of their journals. So let's go ahead and flip to the first page. So in the inside cover here, you'll see that I have a map that I've drawn. I've covered up my name so you can't see that. I was really inspired to do a map in my journal. I've seen a lot of different people on YouTube do journals, and I thought, well, I wanted to do that for my first journal as well. I could not tell you who inspired me with these specific names for location. There was a YouTuber who I really liked her map, so some of the locations I have on my map here are from her. Other places and names I've created myself, but all of the names on the map are sort of book related things. So I have like Cliffhanger, Plateau, Chasm of No Return, Lake of Tears, Story Arches, Duology Towers, Forest of Fairy Tales, Standalone Island, Love Triangle Isle. So there's lots of different book related themes going on here. I really like the ship sailing one. I think that's super fun. So yeah, this was my first time ever drawing a map. I feel like I did a pretty good job for my first time drawing one. I'm really proud of the way that this turned out. And something that I haven't seen other YouTubers do, and maybe there are people out there and I just haven't found them yet. I kind of went a little bit extra with my book journal because that's just my personality. I like to go the extra mile and do something a bit more. So as I'll go through the setup for my journal, you'll see there's like a theme going on, not just a fantasy theme. Kind of that's what as the way that I decorated it, it's definitely themed more fantasy, princess, that kind of thing. But you'll notice that there's actually like a story going on in my book journal, and all of the places on this map kind of match up with the way that I've set up my journal. So I know that seems a little bit like hard to comprehend right now, but I'll explain as I go. But yeah, so all of this on the map is relevant to what I've done later, especially this piece right here, which is the floating castle. I wish I had drawn it a little bit more straight. That's my one pet peeve about this page. But yes, the kind of main storyline of my book journal takes place in the castle floating on the island. So if I flip to the next page, you'll see here, this is my book journal kind of introduction page. You'll see here I have kind of drawn like Gothic numbers for 2024, and I've used my stamps to spell out book journal. And then this is an image of the floating castle in the sky. I had learned from somebody who does book journaling on Instagram. I know people have different opinions about AI, but she uses the Bing AI image generator to create images. So that's how I created this floating castle. It's definitely helpful if you want a specific kind of image and you type in, you know, words that match what you're kind of looking for. And so it's fun to see what you can come up with, what it will create for you. This is definitely what I had envisioned for what I wanted to put in the front of my journal, so I'm really happy with it. And I love that I put Once Upon a Time, because again, this was kind of like princess, fairy tale, fantasy, that kind of thing. So this is my first page, and then we flip the page over. You'll see here, this is my index page. I definitely did not need to make this much space for it. So definitely for my 2025 journal, I won't be including this much space just because I didn't end up using it that much. The index page is where I have all the different types of spreads listed with the page number, and so I've just like marked on the corner with a Sharpie like my page number. I'm not sure yet if I'll do a different kind of method for tracking the page number in my journal, but that's what I did for this one. You'll see here that I have some steps in the bottom here. So this is kind of like you're walking into the castle. It's kind of like, where do you go from there? There's two ways. So it's kind of like this, it's giving you directions. Where do you go? So that's kind of what the theme was for this page. And then we'll go ahead and go to the next page here. This is my secret library spread. I definitely like the way that it turned out, but there's definitely some things that I'll do differently next time whenever I make my library spread for my 2025 journal. What I love about this is that I included these different kind of holes in the wall of the bookcase where you can see the secret library. My idea for this page was that the princess is living in the castle. This was kind of her space where she would put all of her books that were, you know, needed to be kept secret. So this was like the secret library. I definitely put way too many empty books on the shelf. My goal this year was to read 24 books in 2024, and I'll go into more detail later about where I'm at right now. But I definitely included way more empty books on this shelf than I needed to. So definitely for my 2025 journal, I want to definitely do less open books so that way it looks a little bit more filled up. I just put a lot of books and I think it just looks a little bit too spread out. But I do really like the way that it looks though. I'm really happy with the way that the shelf looks. I have, you know, some broken shelves. And then of course you can see in the background the rest of the library. I've included like some vine washi tape to kind of match the vines that are on the floor in the secret library. I also didn't have any kind of color scheme going on with my books either. I like to try to do a color that kind of matches the cover of the book. So that's why the colors are all very different. I don't know yet if I'll do a color pattern for my 2025 journal. I'm still thinking about that, but for now, I'm okay with it being different colors because I also don't like the uniformity of having all the books be the same color if I read a lot of whatever one category, you know. So I'm not sure yet what I'll do, but I do really like this spread. Again, I think I will try to make less open books next time, but either way, I'm happy with this one. So my next spread here is books recommended. I definitely did not utilize this spread as much as I thought I would. I feel like a lot of books that I wanted to read or were recommended, I ended up just adding to like my online wish list. I didn't even think about writing it down here. I did include some, but it definitely did not get filled up as I wanted it to. And I know there's lots of books that I wanted to read and have learned about this year, so I feel like I could have filled it up a little bit more, but that's okay. So the theme for this page was there's like a fountain in the kind of garden, and it's basically maybe a magical fountain, a fountain that gives you recommendations, something that kind of gives you what your heart desires if you were to look in the water. So that was like kind of my inspiration for this spread. A lot of my spreads too are just decorated with stickers, scrapbook paper. You'll also see like some different, they almost look like stickers. In this case, I just printed off images, but these are pictures that I purchased off of Etsy. If I can find where I purchased these ones, I'll link them in the description box below. But I ended up just buying some clip art off of Etsy, and there's lots of different creators who make different types of clip art depending on what you're looking for. So I just ended up purchasing those. They're all PNG files, and then you can obviously add them to a blank document and print them out. So that's what I did, and then cut them out and glue them to my book journal, which is really helpful too, because sometimes, you know, your craft store doesn't always have the kind of stickers or paper that you want. So I really like these, and so most of the books that you'll see around my book journal are from the clip art that I purchased off of Etsy. Going on to the next spread here, this is my books bought in 2024. Thankfully, I have not bought any more books yet, but I did go a little bit over. If I had space, I would have been able to fill out another row. So for my 2025 journal, I'm definitely going to put some more spaces because I definitely bought more books than I gave myself room to write. I did buy a lot of books that I wanted to read this year, and that's usually what I try to do anyways. I try to buy books that I know I'm going to read. If I'm at the thrift store or at a discount bookshop, I feel like I'm more gracious in that area, that, okay, if it's only a couple dollars, like, it's okay. But to buy a new book, I try to buy new books that I know I'm going to read. So, but the theme for this spread was going back to the front of my journal. There's this forest of fairy tales, and so this spread is supposed to be kind of like that. These are kind of like woods or sprites, sort of magical creatures that are collecting books from the forest to bring back to the princess. So that's what the theme was for this spread. Again, I created this image with the Bing AI image generator, and these are also clip art images, of course, decorated with lots of other stickers and paper. I really like the way that this is also set up. I like the idea of doing the book spot because I think it's really helpful to see when you actually purchase the books and being able to go back and see how long you've had them, so I really do like that. A lot of the spreads I think I'll do for 2025 as well, so you'll see that when I end up posting that video and get around to setting it all up. But going on to the next page, this is my TBR spread, the books that I wanted to read this year. The theme for this, which I also really love that I did Dutch doors, it was very ambitious, I think, for my first time doing a book journal to do Dutch doors, because I also wanted to have them be arches. That was a little bit difficult. I had to definitely change the way that this spread looked several times because I just wasn't happy with it, but I think I am really happy with the way that it turned out now. Going back to that map here, this is part of the story arches. I don't really know what the connection is between stories and the arches. It's just something that I ended up going with. So that's where this spread comes from. I did not get through all the books this year that I wanted to read, which is unfortunate, but it's okay because I went from reading like 1 to 3 books maybe a year, and then I've read at this point 22. So a huge leap in my reading. What I love about this book journal is that it truly helped me become a reader and be excited about it. And I think being able to decorate and document my reading journey really helped me get excited to read more books and pace myself by setting goals and trying to meet those goals to read those books in time. So it definitely helped a lot. I am a little bit sad I didn't get through all the books I wanted to read this year, but it's okay. I'm definitely happy that I improved so much since 2023. I'm really glad that this has definitely helped me a lot in my reading, so I'm okay with it. I really love my rating system. I think I got some ideas from other people who have done their own rating systems, like when they do the sort of ranking videos on YouTube, but I really like the ranking I did for this. So my 5-star reads are an integral part of my personality. 4-star perks of being a non-human. My 3-star rating is just mid. My 2-star rating is incompetent scientists, and my 1-star rating is raccoons would love it, did not finish. But I do really like the ratings for this one. I don't think I'll be able to use it for my next book journal. I'm not sure yet. I might want to do something different, but I really like the rating system here. And then these stars are actually something that I purchased off of Etsy as well. It was like a sticker sheet, so I wouldn't have to draw my stars, which was really, really helpful because I am not good at drawing stars. Like, they're just not, you know, it's hard to draw stars. So I was really glad that I was able to find sticker sheets of just blank 5 stars, so I could fill them in as I read the books. And again, I'll probably go in more detail about the books I read in part 2, or I'll just make a separate video about maybe my opinions. You'll see more later once my other video comes out about the books I read. The spreads that I do are very different than what I've seen a lot of people do on YouTube, so it's not really much of my opinion. It's more just information about the book that I want to remember. So you'll see that later, but I think it would be fun to kind of talk about the books that I enjoyed, and also just the books that I read this year that also I made spreads for, and just kind of give more of my opinion as well. So I'm not sure exactly how that will look yet, or if I'll combine it all into one video, but that's definitely something to look forward to if you'd like to see my book spreads for the books that I read. So you can see here that the ones that already have the star ratings and the ones that I read, and so I think I will talk about them later, but just so you can see what I've rated them, that is all the books. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next spread here. This is my reading tracker. I really liked the way that I set this one up as well, of the theme. Again, these windows are ones that I purchased off of Etsy. They are clip art. I really like that a lot because they're kind of like the windows of the castle. And then this spread is one that shows how many days I read in each month. You can see that I definitely slacked off a lot in May. It's really surprising that I read the most in October. I don't know what happened there. I don't know, it just seemed like an odd month. I would have thought that I would have read more like in the beginning months when I first started the journal and was really more motivated to read, because I was like super excited to use my journal. But I feel like I actually read more the second half of the year, which is really interesting. I definitely did not read every single day of the month. I would say I'm more of a binge reader. I would rather like read the book in a short amount of time and then have a break where I can decorate my journal or just do some other things, watch a show that I like, whatever. I feel like just reading like a couple of pages every day doesn't do it for me, because especially the books that I read, I feel like I'm just very eager to know what happens next. And I also wanted to be able to enjoy myself doing this journal, and I didn't want to just rush and rush and rush. So I took more of my time with reading and doing the spreads for the books that I read. We'll definitely see. Maybe I'll read more books in 1 month. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I balance it all out. But definitely it's really interesting to look and see how many days I read. It's always kind of fun to look at those statistics at the end of the year and see what your reading looked like. Going on to the next page here, this is my book log. So this is where I document all the books that I started, I'll put the start date and then the date I finished reading it. So far there's only one book that I haven't finished reading, and I don't think I will finish reading it. But it's okay. And then there's one book that I did not finish because I just did not like it. And then the rest of the books I finished. There are a couple that I did not make spreads for, either because I didn't want to, didn't have anything I really wanted to say about it, or I wanted to maybe save it for later. Like for example, I listened to Lightning Thief on audiobook, and I would eventually like to read through the whole Percy Jackson series. I don't think I've read through all of it. I think I've only read through the first couple of books maybe when I was younger. But I think I would like to do that later when I'm more focused and intentional about reading that series. This year I wasn't. It was just kind of something that I just put on in the car and just kept listening to until I finished it. But at some point I would like to, because I do like Percy Jackson. I think it would be really fun to decorate book pages for those books, but that will be another time perhaps. And then the image I have here in the corner is of the princess who lives in the castle and reads books. And this is also part of the map. She's reading in the Forest of Stories. And this is kind of like some of the books are kind of growing off the trees. That's at least where I was going with that. They're kind of supposed to be growing off the trees. But I do like this one a lot. I do feel like I like this image. And then going on to my next spreads here, on the left side, I have my book bingo spread. I am going to do another book bingo spread for my 2025 journal. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to set it up or how I'm going to do it necessarily, but I do like the idea of doing it, so I'm going to keep it. But I did complete this about halfway through the year, so that's why I'm not sure if I'll reevaluate how I want to do it. I wanted to definitely put things on my bingos card that I would be able to complete. I didn't want to do things that I wouldn't be able to complete with the books that I was planning on reading, but I definitely wasn't like trying to get, like, I mean, I was obviously trying to get a bingo, but not like, oh, I'm gonna read this book so I can get this, you know, this box, and then, you know, I was just reading the books as I wanted to read them, and then obviously filling out the bingo card as something applied. So as a casually doing it and not trying but also trying, it took me about, you know, 6 months to do that. And then the idea for this page is, you'll see like at the bottom here I have a sword. It was supposed to be kind of like Sword in the Stone, where, you know, once you got the bingo, the sword would be released, you know, this magical sword. So that was the idea for this page with the book bingo. And then on the right side here, I have Cutpile, which is a rating system for books. I believe this was originally created by the booktuber Plant-Based Bride, but I've heard a lot of people on YouTube using it, which is why I wanted to include it in my reading journal. I really liked the idea of using Cutpile because I feel like it gave a more, like, maybe accurate rating to the books that I've read. I feel like it can be really easy to just rate a book based off of your immediate feelings, but I think going through these 7 different categories, I feel like it gave you more perspective of how to rate the book in a more overall way that was a little bit more fair, I would say. So I really liked the system, so I included, you know, the description of how all of that works, and then on the back I included here how you find your score. So basically how you calculate your reading score is you divide your score amongst the 7 categories. All of it is rated out of 10, and then you take that total number and divide it by 7 for this decimal point number. And then that tells you how many stars to rate your book. So I really like this rating system. I feel like it definitely gave me more, maybe more of an accurate rating for the books that I've read. I also like to do just whole stars. I know everybody's different, but I don't really like doing half or quarter stars. I just do 1 whole star, and that's just my preference. Maybe in the future it will change, but right now I like to use whole stars. And I'll definitely include this in my next journal as well, because I do like referencing it and just seeing again how I rate it, because whenever I finish a book I like to look at this and I'll read the description of each category and then, you know, rate it out of 10 and really think about, you know, what I would give it for each category. So I really like that. I think that's really helpful to have it in my journal where I can just reference it. And then this here is my book tracker. So this counts how many books that I've read this year. So right now I'm at 21 books. I'm hoping to finish The Prisoner's Throne by December 31st, and then hopefully I will get 22 books for 2024. It makes me a little bit disappointed that I am 2 books shy of meeting my goal from 2024, but it's okay. Again, I'm really happy that I've come so far in my reading. Like I said, I've used to be a person who would read maybe 1 to 3 books a year, and that was being very generous. So going from that number to 22 books, hopefully, I think that's a huge success for me. I'm just glad that I got back into reading and have enjoyed this process of doing my journal, reading books, decorating pages for them. So I'm really happy with it. Now, obviously for 2025, I'm hoping to increase my goal and read more books, but we'll see how that goes. I'm still, you know, excited to just see where it goes, and I still like doing the pages and decorating, and I'm okay. Not, you know, super hard on myself if I don't meet my goals, but I do like having those goals to push me, because I definitely feel like that was helpful in my reading, to just have those goals of like, okay, I need to read 2 books every month so I can meet my goal of 24 books. But it's okay. It's funny though, because I also missed like basically the whole month of May, so if I had read 2 books in May, I actually would have completed my goal. But it's okay. It's totally fine. There's not really any theme for this one as well. It's kind of similar to my book log page, where I just have the windows at the top, kind of like you're looking into the castle, or it's from the inside of the castle looking out, and those are just the windows. And then my next spread here is my book bracket. I've not finished it yet, so I will post the final results on my Instagram, which is also in my description box below if you'd like to follow me. I'll be also posting pictures of my spreads as well. but I also will post my final results for 2024 on there, since this video will come out hopefully before January 1st, but I won't be doing another video to like go over my end of the year results or anything like that. But this page here was kind of designed almost like Snow White, where this is the magic mirror, and it's going to basically choose which book is the fairest of them all. So after I hopefully finish The Prisoner's Throne, I will be able to fill out the rest of the boxes and determine which was my best book of 2024. It's a little bit hard too, because I did reread my favorite book series, so I'm not sure if my opinion of my favorite book is going to change. We'll see how it goes. I really like this book series a lot, which I'll talk about probably in a later video, but we'll see if I have a new favorite book after I finish this page. And then that actually completes my setup for my book journal. The other pages in this journal are all book spreads. So after I've read a book, I will decorate the pages to just reference information from the book. I'll put, pictures of the characters if people have drawn fan art, etc. And so I'm going to do a part 2 video, just so that way this video isn't super long. And again, I might go into more detail my opinion about the books, but we'll see. So that was the setup for my book journal for 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me share how I set it up and just going over, my reading journey at a glance for this year. I'm excited to see what next year holds. I hope that you stick along for the ride and join me as I go into my second year of reading more actively and decorating my book journal for that. I will also be posting a video of my setup for my 2025 book journal. And like I said, I'll also do a video of the books that I read this year. So if you'd like to see that, please also consider subscribing so that I can continue to share this. And I would love to share, insights about the books. And if you have anything to share as well, I would love to hear other people's opinions if you've read the books as well. I think that's one of the things that drew me to finally create a booktube channel so I can share this, is that I think it's really fun that this is a space where you can connect with other people that share the same interest as you, and kind of gives you a way to talk to other people about the books that you love. I'm really excited for what the future holds. I hope, again, that you'll stick around for the ride and join me. Follow me on Instagram so you can, again, see my final end of the year results for 2024, and then also my 2025 book journal as well. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye!